Dave's Retro Review. Peace, dudes.
Welcome to Rick and Dave's Comic Book Hour. Retro Reviews is what's happening, and it's a gas. I'm Rick.
I'm Dave.
So, today we're going to start off with our Retro Review with Dave. What fine Retro Review issue do you have for us?
Well, the first issue is totally groovy. It is The Adventures of Jerry Lewis. Now, I know there's probably a couple of you out there so young, you're like, Jerry Lewis who? But this is an issue from 1968, number 105, and this one, Superman meets Jerry. But the crazy thing is, they never actually meet. Nope. Jerry meets Clark Kent, but he never meets Superman, although he's running around in his Superman outfit. So that's a crazy issue. We got Superman destroying stuff. Lex Luthor covers him with kryptonite powder, so that weakens him, and Superman, he's so tired, he just needs to take a nap. And he falls asleep in a phone booth, and he falls out and startles some girls. And then as Clark Kent, he goes on assignment, ends up at Jerry's house to interview his nephew. And while he's there, the nephew, being ornery, gives Clark Kent a hot foot, and then the nephew dumps him with water. So he has to change clothes to let his clothes dry, so borrows some of Jerry's stuff, but of course he has to hide his Superman costume. So he throws it in the laundry hamper. In the meantime, their maid, who's a witch, decides to do some laundry, and they find the costume, and Jerry starts running around in it. And meantime, Lex Luthor is tracking him down and finds Jerry all dressed up in the Superman costume, and he's like, this can't be right. And one thing leads to another, and Superman finally gets his costume back, and Lex Luthor gets caught. But it's all a bunch of crazy mayhem and goofiness, which you would expect out of a Jerry Lewis comic. So for the goofy funness, I'd give it a thumbs up.
Okay.
So Rick, what you read this time for our retro review?
Well, I got giant-sized Spider-Man and Dracula. And I'm going to tell you something. What this is about, well, it starts off, surprisingly, it's my surprise a lot of you, that Aunt May's ill. And she's got a new strain of flu. I know, I can't believe she's ill. It never happens, hardly. But she's got a new strain of flu, and only one person has a vaccine. And it's a doctor in Europe called A.J. Maxfield. And she doesn't like to fly. So, she's on a ship. And Spider-Man's in a hurry because Aunt May's not going to make it. So he goes to the Fantastic Four and talks to his buddy, Human Torch. And at first, Human Torch is giving him starting to razz him, seeing if he needs any help with this spider car. And what he's referring to is the Spider-Mobile, which showed up in 130. But of course, once the Human Torch realizes how serious it is, and that he lets Spider-Man use the jet that Reed Richards has just finished. You know, how nice of Flash of Human Torch to let Spider-Man take Reed's jet.
Whoa, he's been drinking too much.
That wacky weed, man, I tell you. Man. So
read these old comics, just, you know.
Just does it to you.
I mean, all you gotta do is just...
So he just tells Spider-Man to push a button, he'll take him to the ship. So Spider-Man gets to the ship. Now, there are two other people looking for this doctor for their own reasons. Count Dracula and members of the Magi. So they're all on this ship looking for the doctor. So Spider-Man, of course, has a change into Peter Parker to be on the ship, so everybody knows who he is. Doesn't know he's Spider-Man, doesn't stick up like a sore thumb. Now, the only time that Spider-Man and Dracula meet is when Peter Parker bumps into him in a hallway, and that's it. And they exchange some words. And I've always thought, well, why didn't his spider sense go off? I mean, he just bumped into Count Dracula, but yet not a thing from his spider sense. It's like, hey, you're a pretty cool dude. But anyway, that's the only time they meet. There's no fighting with Dracula, no battling over this doctor or nothing. So Dracula mistakes the ship's doctor for the AJ Maxfield and tries to kill him and throws him overboard, and Spider-Man saves him. And then the bad guy won him, and Dracula kills a couple of those people by draining their blood. Well, of course, throughout the issue, Dracula is having some fun draining people of blood, so that's what he does. But in the end, she doesn't realize how her not flying is hurting people, so she agrees to fly with Spider-Man because he should be safe, even though he don't know a damn thing about flying this plane. She's still going to go with him, but of course, push the button, go back.
Love
Oh, plus this plane is hidden by a cloud by a cloud that the ship can make. So that's why nobody can see it hovering over the ship, because it's covered by a cloud that I guess follows it.
That's convenient.
So I mean, they think of everything back then. The issue was written by, I want to say, Lynn Wine and drawn by Ross Adu. Is that right?
Yes.
All right.
Inked by Don Heck.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're expecting, I was just disappointed that Spider-Man and Dracula didn't actually meet in battle. It was like, what's the point? And the story was okay. I'm not even sure I would have paid 50 cents for it back then. I probably would have bought it, but still, it's number 2 is a lot better with Shang-Chi, since they do actually fight and team up. But anyway, that's my review of Giant Size Spider-Man 1.
Alrighty.
What's next, Dave?
Well, next one I read is a Superboy number 167 from 1970. And this one here, we got Superboy's birthday. He's depressed, so Mom and Pa decided to try to tell him a little story from when he was Super Baby. And it's just, the whole story is just ridiculous. I mean, they got Super Baby on a leash, and you think he'd just fly and pick up the car and take off, but somehow he doesn't. And he wants the world for his birthday, because he sees a big globe on top of a building. So they get him a big balloon, and he blows and blows, and it blows up, of course. And it's just ridiculous. But anyway, so he goes to the moon, and he paints some stuff on the moon, and then he sees the Earth, and he thought, well, I'll just go blow up that Earth, and thinking it's a balloon or something, and here's the real Earth, and he's blowing into volcanoes, which are activating all the other volcanoes and causing worldwide havoc and typhoons and monsoons and all kinds of grief, and it's just crazy. But anyway, so Superboy's got to save Earth from getting hit by an asteroid or something here, so he stops his party, flies up there and does that, and then he has a happy birthday. So the whole thing's kind of goofy. There's a backup story too, which is a little bit better than the lead story, but hey, it was written in the 1970s, so they just had some silly stories back then. So that one,
No, DC did.
yeah, DC definitely did. Super Baby flying around on a leash. What the hell's that all up with? But anyway, so that's that on that one. So what do you got now?
Incredible Hulk 171. The Abomination and Rhino. Oh boy.
Ooh.
So, previous issue, Betty Talbot and the Hulk were on Monster Island, and they got rescued. So this starts off with them both landing on the helicopter at, who can remember the Hulkbuster base? I know it's a long time ago, but some of you will remember the Hulkbuster base.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
That was with Thunderbolt Ross in charge of it. However, people start noticing that the base is kind of deserted. There's nobody around. And then eventually find out that the Rhino and the Abomination have been putting people in the Hulkbuster cells because they want to get revenge on the Hulk for beating their ass a few issues from back in the 150s. So they want to get revenge on the Hulk. So the Hulk smacks them around a little bit. And really, the end is, I don't know, it's kind of, the end of how the Hulk beats them is kind of a dud in a way. I guess you can Because all it is here's the Abomination, here's the Rhino, the Hulk's in the middle. I mean, the Hulk is tired of fighting, so he walks away while they're running toward each other, and they can't stop, so they hit each other and knock each other out as the Hulk walks away and leaves. So really, I don't know. There was really no Hulk beating anybody's butt. He just got tired and gave up because he knew he'd beat him anyway. So that's how that issue ends.
His ADD kicked off, huh?
Yeah, he said, "Fuck this." I mean, he said, "No."
Whoa. Smoking one too many comics there.
So anyway, it's a good story. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad story, but it's just, if you're expecting the Hulk in the end to have this big fisticuffs with both of them, it didn't happen. I mean, they do fight, but it's not page after page of butt kicking. But I liked it when I first read it back in the day, and I still like it today, so I give it a thumbs up. So Dave, what's last on your agenda?
Last thing I got is Metal Men number 16, and this was 1965. So if you thought the 1970 issue was crazy, this one's even goofier. So we got the Metal Men, and well, I'm not really sure what the whole point of the story was, but the one girl, the female one, they call Tina in this, which I think is Platinum. But she gets jealous, and it's a whole kind of, I don't know, Betty and Veronica kind of set up here for part of it, and then they have to go into space to stop some sort of invasion, and while they're on their way there, they get shrunk down to toy size, so they're only about so big. And then they find out that the Earth is going to be invaded by termites. So they gotta...
Termites, huh?
Yeah, so they gotta battle these termites and save these...
Are they giant termites?
Well, since they shrunk down to toy size, not really.
Oh, I see. I forgot. I didn't catch that part. It must have been in the haze.
Yeah.
So they shrunk down to fight termites.
Yeah, and then they... on this other planet, and there's these big wooden-looking people, and they look like wine barrels. Made of wine barrels. It's kind of goofy, and they're really stupid. They talk backwards and all kinds of stuff like that. So anyway, they send the Metal Men back to Earth, and then they have to get reassembled or whatever, so they're back to normal. And it's just goofy, but that's what you get back then. So I thought it was an interesting read, but the story's kind of lame. But if you like the old books like that, you'll probably enjoy it, I guess. And the reason I picked that one out to read is I guess they're going to reintroduce the Metal Men into the new 52 here before too long. So hopefully they have a much cooler and much updated take on them than what they are back then. So it wasn't too bad, I guess, but the story's just kind of dorky.
So I hope you enjoyed this retro review issue.
As we rabbit trailed off there for a moment, but anyway.
Too much
well, we're sniffing too many comics, man.
Yeah, those old comics don't do it. You're not going to get a buzz from those glossy books.
No, but the Vintage 65, man. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm being polite here. I could say other things. Whoa. But if nothing else, it smells great.
Anyway, thanks for watching.
All right, bye.
Good day.